Ma'am, I'll need to see your boarding pass again. That's how it started. One line sliced through the buzz of the cabin like a blade. The flight attendant, Veronica Steele, towered over a woman in a gray sweatsuit, her chin tilted so high you'd think she owned the entire airline. Her tone, sharp enough to peel paint, her stare aimed straight at the woman sitting in seat 3B. That woman, Dr. Naomi Brooks, didn't flinch, didn't roll her eyes, didn't even twitch. She just looked up, steady as stone, and said, "My seat is 3B." Simple, calm, but dripping with quiet authority. Now here's the kicker. Naomi wasn't some random passenger on a cheap flight. This was a woman who had stared down killers across interrogation tables without breaking a sweat. But here, on this plane, she was being publicly humiliated, on display like some reality TV villain being cornered. And Veronica? Oh, Veronica was loving it. The smirk on her face said it all. Go ahead, lady. Break. Snap. Give me a reason. But no one else in that cabin had the faintest clue, because this wasn't really about a seat or about some missing headphones. Nope. This was the spark of something much bigger, the kind of drama that unravels lives before the plane even hits the ground. And let me tell you, by the end of this flight, Veronica Steele's smug little empire, it was about to come crashing down. Before we go any further, welcome to Voices Unchained comment, where in the world you are watching from, and make sure to subscribe because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. Veronica wasn't done. Oh no. She came strutting back down that aisle like she was storming a runway in Paris Fashion Week. Heels clicking, chin high, perfume choking the air. Ma'am, she announced loud enough for 3 rows back to hear. We've had a report of missing property. I'll need you to stand up and open your bag. And just like that, silence. Heads swiveled, conversations died, phones started sneaking into recording mode because people love chaos as long as they're not the ones in it. Naomi Brooks didn't budge. She sat there with a book neatly folded on her lap, hands crossed like she was posing for a portrait. And then she dropped the line that had people gasping. My seatmate misplaced his headphones. That doesn't make me a thief. Can you believe she said that so calm, like ice? Meanwhile, the man in the window seat, Martin Lewis, threw his hands up like he was on trial. I never said she stole them, he stammered. I just can't find. But Veronica? She cut him off like a courtroom judge. For the safety of this flight, I must insist. And this is where it got delicious. Naomi turned her head, locked eyes with Veronica, and said, quietly but firmly, if you want to escalate this, then bring the captain. Now. Oh, did she really just pull the bring your boss card at 30,000 feet? Yes, she did. The air went electric. Passengers sat there, frozen like they were watching a live courtroom drama. Veronica's smirk cracked just a little, but her pride wouldn't let her back down. She spun on her heel and stormed off toward the cockpit, heels snapping like a drumbeat. Whispers exploded down the rows. Phones tilted higher. Martin muttered, I'm sorry, but Naomi didn't even look at him. She knew the battle had just started, and when the cockpit door opened and Captain Richard Hale stepped out, oh, the energy shifted. Crisp uniform, heavy presence, the kind of man who didn't even need to raise his voice to command the room. What seems to be the issue? He asked, voice steady like thunder before rain. Veronica pounced like a cat chasing a laser pointer. Captain, this passenger refuses to comply with a security request. She's been hostile. I believe she may have taken Mr. Lewis's property. You could practically hear her rehearsing that speech in her head, her big gotcha moment. The captain turned to Naomi. Is this true, ma'am? Now here's where it gets cinematic. Naomi stood up, slow and deliberate, the way a queen rises from a throne. She reached into her pocket, and Veronica's smirk came back instantly. She just knew Naomi was about to pull out those missing headphones. But nope. Instead, a slim leather case snapped open. A golden badge gleamed under the cabin lights. Federal. Bureau of Investigation. Gasps. Literal gasps. Phones went up like it was a concert. Veronica's smugness melted faster than ice cream on a sidewalk in July. My name is Dr. Naomi Brooks, she said firmly, her voice slicing through the silence. Special Agent FBI. I am on official federal business. And your flight attendant here hasn't just harassed me. She's interfered with a time-sensitive operation. Oh, can you believe she dropped that right there in front of everyone? But wait, it gets better. The captain blinked, suddenly rattled. Special? Agent? His voice cracked. Veronica looked like she wanted to sink into the carpet. Naomi's eyes cut back to her, sharp as broken glass. That's the problem, isn't it? You didn't care who I was. You only cared about who you decided I couldn't be. Boom. Mic drop. Veronica's knees nearly buckled. Captain Hale didn't hesitate. His voice turned to Steele. Miss Steele, you are relieved of duty for the remainder of this flight. Go to the rear galley. Do not speak to another passenger. The walk of shame that followed? Brutal. Every passenger's eyes burned holes into her back. Phones recorded her perfect posture collapsing into a slouch. The self-proclaimed queen of the cabin had just been dethroned, and the kingdom was loving every second. But here's the twist. The flight wasn't over. Not even close. As order returned, Naomi's gaze drifted down to row 17. A jittery young man clutched a bright yellow backpack, sweat dripping down his forehead. His knee bounced like a drum. And Naomi? She recognized the signs instantly. He wasn't just a nervous flyer. He was the courier. And if he bolted before landing, the whole mission could collapse. The yellow backpack kid in row 17 was unraveling. Sweat dripping, hands twitching, eyes darting like a cornered rat. Naomi Brooks knew the look. He was the courier, the weak link in a much bigger chain. So, under the blanket, she slid out a secure satellite phone. One coded message later, asset agitated, prepare ground team. The reply came back instantly, acknowledged, stay steady. By the time the captain's voice boomed overhead, ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated. Law enforcement will be boarding upon arrival. The courier looked like he'd seen a ghost. Touchdown. The doors cracked open. FBI agents in uniforms stormed the aisle like it was a raid. And the courier? He panicked, grabbed that bright yellow bag and made a break for it. But bad move, kid. Because as he sprinted past row 3, Naomi just stretched her leg out. One tiny move, and boom, he went flying. Bag skidding, body crashing, chaos exploding. FBI, don't move. Agents swarmed, pinning him in seconds. Passengers gasped, phones captured everything, and guess who had front row seats at the back galley? Veronica Steele. Oh, the look on her face. Horror, rage, shame. She wasn't watching a passenger humiliated anymore. She was watching the woman she tried to destroy casually direct a federal takedown with nothing but a nod. And that was the moment her whole world collapsed. Because what started as a petty power trip turned into something much uglier. Official reports, disciplinary reviews, and then the call nobody wants. Veronica Steele, your employment is terminated effective immediately. Cold. Final. The airline cut her loose like she was nothing. But wait, it got worse. Investigators traced the courier's dirty money, following the trail straight into hidden bank accounts, and one name froze everyone in the room. Michael Steele. Her brother, the family man she always bragged about supporting. Yeah, he was tangled deep in trafficking profits. When the FBI knocked on his door, he cracked in hours. He admitted Veronica had sent him money she thought was helping him, but really, it was blood cash. When Naomi faced her across the prosecutor's table, Veronica broke. Tears streaked her face, mascara running, shoulders slumped. Naomi didn't even need to raise her voice. You thought you were humiliating me, she said, but all you did was expose yourself, and in the process, you led us straight to the truth. Justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, relentless, and absolute. And Veronica learned the hard way. Prejudice costs nothing to dish out, but it can cost you everything when the truth shows up. Her career? Gone. Her reputation? Shattered. Her family? Dragged into scandal. All because she couldn't resist trying to put a black woman in her place. But Naomi Brooks? She walked away stronger. The trafficking ring cracked open, lives saved, justice served, and one more reminder burned into history. Courage has a way of shutting prejudice down, no matter how turbulent the journey. And if you ask the passengers of Flight 816 what they remember most, it's not the arrest, not the headlines. It's the quiet dignity of the woman who refused to break when the whole plane was watching. If this story hit you the way it hit me, show some love. Smash that like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Voices Unchained for more stories where truth always finds its way.